Hello, my name is Patrick Smith, senior instructor and founder of Gun Safe Academy in Omaha, Nebraska.
My name is Patrick Smith Jr. I'm also an instructor with Gun Safe Academy, and I'm the owner and chief uploader for the YouTube channel Cure for Ignorance.
What we're here today to do is to discuss briefly a number of proposed changes to Nebraska law. This is the legislative session of the 103rd legislature of the state of Nebraska. First thing we're going to talk about is the legislative bill 5050 introduced by Senator Ashford of Omaha.
First read on January 10th of this year.
So anyway, Senator Ashford proposes to make it not a crime, but to create civil liability, which doesn't make any sense because this is America. You can sue anybody for anything already. Why we have to have this bill doesn't make any sense. But Senator Ashford is trying to, if you allow your gun to get into the possession of a minor or someone who is mentally ill, then you can be sued for any damages that result from that action. It's a safe storage bill. What he's trying to do is punish the gun owner if their gun is stolen. So if your gun is stolen by a minor, or if your gun is stolen by someone who is mentally ill, then they seek to punish you for being the victim of that crime. Of course, this is an absurd piece of legislation, and hopefully this will go down in flames.
And again, it doesn't give any requirements for how the gun should be secured. It just says if you leave it out there unreasonably for someone else to access it. So nice and wide open, and it's the short edge of the wedge there. So
if you have a 1,000-pound steel gun safe, and your gun's locked in a 1,000-pound steel gun safe, and you go on vacation for 2 weeks, and your kid told the kid next door that you're going on vacation, so the kid next door breaks into your house while you're gone and takes a week to chisel and pry bar and blowtorch your safe and get it open. They get your gun, they shoot somebody, you come back from vacation, and now you find that your gun has been stolen, and you're now being sued by the guy down the street whose idiot kid broke into your safe in the first place and then shot himself in the foot. It's ridiculous. It's simply another action by the progressive liberal left to punish gun owners in any way they can possibly conceive of. LB 50, piece of garbage, needs to be defeated. All right.
Next we're going to talk about here is a bill introduced by Mark Christensen, District 44. I like this guy a lot. He's done a lot of good things for concealed carry. He's making a couple of changes here, or trying to make some changes here that don't really make any sense to me. It seems as though he hasn't really even read Title 272. We have a copy of it here. We give it to all our students in the class. And what he wants to do here in Section 6 is it defines posted conspicuous notice. That'd be in the entrance of every entrance to a place or premises open to the public, and says that the Nebraska State Patrol shall design a sign for the use by any person, entity, or employer, and make it available so they can print that off and publish it. It states that the sign should be show a gun with at least a 2-inch red circle slashing over the image. It states also that it should be posted between 48 and 66 inches high on every entrance there.
Okay, the problem with that is such a sign already exists.
By the State Patrol.
State Patrol already designed this sign. On the State Patrol's sign, it's a 4-inch diameter circle. Okay, a 4-inch diameter circle, so it's twice as high as what he suggested. And the State Patrol currently suggested that it be posted at normal eye level, 54 to 66 inches above the ground. This again is in Title 272.
Section number is 018.05. Okay.
So this is Title 272, Nebraska Administrative Code, Chapter 21. Okay, by the Nebraska State Patrol concerning concealed handgun permits. Section 1805 describes this sign and says that it must be posted at every entrance at normal eye level between 54 and 66 inches. The bill that he's suggesting is already the law.
And he's suggesting a smaller sign here. If your idea is to make it more conspicuous, I don't know why you cut the diameter of the circle in half. And John Bruning issued a decision a couple years ago saying that he would not prosecute anybody who carried past a sign that did not display a circle that was at least 4 inches in diameter. So John Bruning, Attorney General, is already aware of this sign and says that he recommends this sign. And the idea behind that is that if you come up on a sign like this, that's ankle high at a door, since it's harder to notice that. It's possible he didn't notice that, so he made it so if you carry accidentally past a sign that's less than 4 inches, he wouldn't prosecute it. So by this, the State Patrol mandate wouldn't even meet John Bruning's standards, and he wouldn't even prosecute the case, probably.
So again, he's saying 2-inch diameter, so he's making the sign smaller and easier to miss, which makes it more likely that you will inadvertently, accidentally violate the law. It's a bad bill. Again, this is LB 352. LB 352, introduced by Senator Christensen. The law already exists. The sign already exists. It would be nice if Senator Christensen would actually read Title 272 before he started trying to change it.
Last one we're talking about here is LB 335.
Well, actually, we have a couple more. This one and that one. But,
gotcha.
LB 335, introduced again by Senator Mark Christensen. In this bill, Senator Christensen seeks to make it legal for you to have your gun in the car, even if your car is parked in a parking lot of a prohibited place, such as a school, a church, a hospital, a government building containing a courthouse, etc. Those places that are prohibited places under the law, you can have your gun in the car, according to the new bill, Legislative Bill 335. The problem with this bill is that, again, it is already the law. In Title 272, Section 1805, it states, except as prohibited by federal law, a permit holder may carry a concealed handgun in a vehicle or on his person while riding in a vehicle, in or on to any parking area which is open to the public and used by any of the places or premises listed in Section 1801, which lists the prohibited places. If the handgun is not removed from the vehicle and the handgun is properly secured in the vehicle before the permit holder exits the vehicle. And it defines properly secured as being locked in the glove box, trunk, or other compartment of the vehicle, or in a storage box attached to the vehicle if it is a motorcycle. So again, this bill, LB 335, already the law. Senator Christensen, please read Title 272 before you continue to try to make changes to it. He goes on in this bill to tell the employer that they cannot pass administrative policy prohibiting you from having it in your vehicle. It's already law. You can have it in your vehicle.
So when we talked about it in our classes, we talked about criminal, civil, and administrative law. And in a nutshell, when it concerns this, is that it's already legal to have the gun in your car at the place of employment, even if your employer says you can't have it in the car on the property. Now, you wouldn't be breaking a crime at that point because, like I said, it's legal. There would be no civil damages, so you couldn't be sued for it, but you could be fired for it.
If the employer says you can't have it on the property and you acknowledge that.
Okay.
So there's some very thin benefit to this. But if your employer tells you you can't have the gun in the car, you simply refer to the law and say, look right here, it's legal to have it in the car, and unless your employer searches your vehicle, and again, most places they can't search your vehicle without a search warrant, so don't let them search the vehicle. It's not necessary.
So what the bill says that the employer can't fire you for having it in the vehicle. So it prohibits them from making a policy saying you can't have it in the car, and then if they fire you, you have to give your job back, and a number of other things. I'm thinking if it's your employer doesn't want the guns on the property, and I understand you want to protect yourself to and from work.
Don't tell them it's in the car.
That's all you got to do. I mean, don't go into your boss and say, I got a gun in the car, there's nothing you can do about it if you have a policy that says you can't have a gun, because they can fire you for that. That seems reasonable to me. Why tell the employer they can't fire you for violating company policy?
So, very, very limited benefit to that. Okay, and the last one we're going to talk about, this one was introduced by Senator Bloomfield. Senator Bloomfield, this act, or this is LB 171, Legislative Bill 171, introduced by Senator Bloomfield. Now, what Senator Bloomfield is trying to do is create an expedited process for victims of domestic abuse. So your husband or boyfriend or girlfriend beats you up and you want to get a concealed carry permit to defend yourself, he wants to allow that to be expedited. The first problem with this bill is that he says that you can go to the police station or the sheriff's office where you live, and then they will notify the State Patrol, and the State Patrol must issue the permit within 5 days. That doesn't work, Senator Bloomfield, for a number of reasons. Number one is when concealed carry passed, the state of Nebraska spent a substantial amount of money buying fingerprint scanners and photography equipment for all the State Patrol headquarters. This is an expensive piece of equipment. It records your fingerprints electronically so that it can be compared to the APHIS database, the federal database, electronically, okay, and transmitted from the State Patrol office to Lincoln, to the Criminal Investigation Division that does all the background checks. Okay, this piece of equipment is expensive. Your police department and sheriff's office is not going to have the money to buy them. So if you pass this law that says these local police departments have to have this equipment, who's going to pay for it? They don't have the money to pay for it. They have to go to the State Patrol, and there's a reason for that. So that's the first problem. The next problem is that currently in the law, the permit is issued within 45 days of application. 45 days of application.
And what this does is when concealed carry first took effect, Nebraska Criminal Investigation Division, CID, did about 18,000 background checks. And when they,
a year, 18,000 a check.
18 year. And when they passed concealed carry, they expected 20,000 permit applications the first year. Now we didn't get nearly that many, but they didn't add any staff for that. So we already have a law, it's LB 817, I believe. What that does is it puts concealed carry permit applications to the top of the stack. So, I mean, the CID does background checks for liquor licenses and foster care, a number of other things.
Any fingerprint-based background check has to go through CID, okay? Concealed carry applications have already been moved to the top of the stack. So, that 45 days from application to issuance gives the State Patrol the time they need to conduct a thorough background check. Saying that they have to issue the permit within 5 days makes it impossible for them to do that background check. So now your alleged victim of domestic abuse gets their permit within 5 days and kills the alleged attacker, and then the background check is finished and we find out that she's killed 5 other people. Ooh, oops, maybe we shouldn't have given her a permit. There's a case in the news right now where this woman first shot her boyfriend, then stabbed him 29 times, then cut his throat, and alleged that it is self-defense. It's not self-defense, it's murder. The state should not facilitate murder. Okay, so the 45 days is reasonable, 5 days is not reasonable. The third reason that this is not reasonable is because before you can apply for a concealed carry permit, you must first complete a State Patrol approved training class. Okay? We teach that class. That class is currently booked out till March. January's full, February 2 classes are full, March class is half full, and it's only January. So it is not physically possible for her to get the training within 5 days, or the background check within 5 days. The reality is that it's going to probably take months to get the training before she can even apply for the permit. So that's unreasonable. Okay? The final point on this law is the victim of domestic abuse can buy a gun the same day. If she goes down to the sheriff's office and she says, I've been beat up or whatever, I need a gun, they can give her a purchase permit. The sheriff's department can give her the purchase permit on the spot. She can buy a gun the same day. There's an affirmative defense to prosecution for carrying a concealed weapon that already exists in the law. The law already has an affirmative defense to prosecution for carrying a concealed weapon if you're doing so, if a reasonable person would do so, to protect themselves or their property under those circumstances. So she can get a gun and carry it and be protected by the affirmative defense right now, same day, while she's waiting for the class and waiting for her background check. Okay? So it's not necessary. And finally, if the police or the sheriffs locally know about the situation, then they simply don't charge her with carrying a concealed weapon. If she shoots the guy, we got bigger issues. We're going to be looking at murder, manslaughter, assault. Okay, all of those issues will have to be addressed, but we simply won't charge her with carrying a concealed weapon because we knew that it was a defensive situation. So LB 171, full of holes, completely unnecessary, completely unrealistic, absolutely bad law. You cannot have the state permit issued from a police office or a sheriff's office and within 5 days. It simply isn't possible. You can't get the training, you can't get the background check.
All right, so in review here, we had LB 50 by Ashford. It's a safe storage law, and it's the start of a slippery slope here. It makes you a victim of a crime and then a victim of civil action or police action afterwards. LB 50 needs to be defeated. LB 171.
Expedited.
Yeah, expedited permit process. It's impossible to do it and meet the current law. And again, they can protect themselves with the laws we currently have. It's worthless. LB 171 needs to be defeated. LB 335 by Christensen, District 44. We don't need this either. You can carry, this is where it says the employees can't prohibit you from carrying on the property. Legally, they can't do that. You can carry on the property.
In your car.
In your car. You can't be...
So long as the gun is not removed from the car, it's not against the law.
Okay.
It's already the law.
It's saying that they can't establish a policy and they can't fire you for violating the policy. I don't agree with that. LB 335 is worthless again. LB 352 says the State Patrol must create a standardized sign and outlines how big the sign should be. And they already did it 6.5 years ago. LB 352 also worthless.
Senators, please, if you're going to make a bill about guns, talk to somebody that knows what the law is now. Call me. My phone number is 402-614-4504. You can look at our website. You can take the class. Our website is www.gunsafeacademy.com. Look at the website.
And we'll put links below this YouTube video to every bill we talked about today, and we'll put links to our website. And please, either read it or call someone who has.
And those changes that can be made, there are positive changes that need to be made. None of these are them. Okay? The one change that we need to make, and Senator Christensen has talked about this briefly on television, is castle doctrine. But nobody defines what castle doctrine is. Castle doctrine has two key elements. Number one is that you do not have to retreat before you can use deadly force to protect yourself. Nebraska law currently requires you to retreat, even from your own home. Currently, Nebraska law says you must retreat first before you can use deadly force. Castle doctrine says no, you don't have to retreat. Not from your home, not from your place of employment, not from your car, not from a movie theater, not from a church, not from anywhere. Number one, castle doctrine. You do not need to retreat before you can defend yourself.
The second part of that is that you cannot be sued unless you are first convicted of a crime. In Nebraska, if you shoot someone, it's legally justifiable. If you don't go to trial, you're acquitted of the charges. The surviving person you shot or a surviving family can sue you and take more than the guy ever could have stolen from you. The second part of castle doctrine says you must first be convicted of a crime before they can sue you. And this is fantastic law. You'll hear on the news they call it the Make My Day law, the shoot first, ask questions later law.
And that's all slanderous. Okay? What it says is that you don't have to retreat, which you shouldn't have to, and you cannot be held civilly liable unless you're first convicted of a crime. If you kill somebody inappropriately, you're convicted of a crime, then they can sue you. This case with Trayvon Martin down in Florida, okay, they're trying desperately to convict this man of anything because Florida has castle doctrine. In order, and it's not about justice, it's not about punishing an illegal act, it's not about, this guy being a murderer, it's about money. If they can convict him of anything, then the surviving family of Trayvon Martin, a drug-dealing thug who attacked this man and nearly killed him, if they can first convict this man of anything, discharging a firearm in the city limits, anything, if they can convict him of anything, it opens up that homeowners association to millions of dollars of civil liability. And they will be sued and sued and sued. And every one of those people that had that neighborhood watch, every one of those people that was trying to responsibly protect their property will lose millions of dollars. And that's what it's about. Money, not about justice. Castle doctrine. Don't have to retreat. Can't be sued unless convicted of a crime. That's it. That's what we need in Nebraska. All the rest of this stuff is just smoke and mirrors. Let's talk about the real issue.
Okay. Yeah, this is Patrick Smith Jr. with Gun Safe Academy.
And Patrick Smith Sr.
And today is January 18th, 2013. Please like and subscribe and comment below.